The Tale of Tom Kitten by Beatrix Potter. Once upon a time, there were 3 little kittens. Their names were Mittens, Tom Kitten, and Muppet. The kittens had a happy life. They lived on a farm with their mother, Mrs. Tabitha Twitchit, and every day they played together, climbed together, and tumbled together. They didn't have a care in the world. Their mother loved them very much and did everything she could to bring them up to be polite and well-behaved. One day, Mrs. Tabitha had friends coming to tea and wanted to show off her little kittens. "You are to wear your best clothes," she told them as they sat in a row in front of her. "And you must be on your best behavior." She washed their faces and brushed their fur. She combed their tails and smoothed their whiskers. She dressed Muppet and Mittens in their prettiest dresses and pinafores. Tom wore his smartest jacket and trousers. Tom didn't like being dressed up. He couldn't keep still. He was a fat little kitten, and the jacket was quite tight. He fidgeted so much that the buttons burst off, and his mother had to sew them back on again. "You may go out and play," said Mrs. Tabitha when they were ready. "But please keep away from the pigsty and the hen house and those puddle ducks, and make sure you walk on your back legs to keep your clothes clean." The 3 kittens went out into the garden. They found it difficult to walk on their back legs and kept falling on their noses. Their clothes were soon covered in green smears from the grass. "I know! Let's climb up the rocks and sit on the garden wall," said Muppet. So they all climbed up with a skip and a jump. As they did, Muppet's pinafore came off and fell on the dusty road. Tom Kitten couldn't jump or skip with his tight clothes, so Muppet and Mittens tried to pull him up. But by the time he reached the top, his hat had fallen off and the buttons had come off his jacket again. While the kittens were sitting on the wall, along came the 3 puddle ducks down the road. They marched one behind the other. Pit-pat, paddle-pat, pit-pat, waddle-pat. As they passed, they stopped and stared up at the kittens. Then Rebecca and Jemima Puddle Duck picked up the hat and pinafore and put them on. What a sight! Mittens laughed so much that she fell off the wall. The other kittens half fell and half clambered after her. All Tom Kitten's smart clothes had come off before he reached the bottom. "Let's put them on, Mr. Drake Puddle Duck," laughed Muppet. Mr. Drake Puddle Duck looked very silly in Tom's clothes. They didn't fit him at all, but Mr. Drake Puddle Duck didn't mind. "It's a very fine morning," he said grandly and set off up the road, keeping in step with Jemima and Rebecca. Pit-pat, paddle-pat, pit-pat, waddle-pat. The 3 puddle ducks went straight to the pond and jumped in. Almost immediately, the clothes that the kittens had put on them fell off and disappeared under the water. Meanwhile, worried where they had got to, Mrs. Tabitha Twitchit came looking for her little kittens. When she saw them sitting on the garden wall without any of their clothes on, she was very cross. "My friends will be here at any minute," she shouted, "and you are not to be seen. Go straight to your bedroom and stay there." The kittens looked at each other and with their heads bowed trooped back to the house and did as they were told. "You are to stay there until I say you can come down," said their mother angrily. When Mrs. Tabitha's friends arrived, they were surprised not to see the kittens. "I'm afraid they are not well enough to leave the room," said their mother, lying. "They have the measles and are in bed resting." The guests looked saddened by the news. "Do sit down and have something to eat and drink," continued Mrs. Twitchit. I have made a delicious sponge cake which I know you will all enjoy." Upstairs, the kittens listened to the guests having a good time below. "It isn't fair that we are not allowed to have any sponge cake," said Tom Kitten. "I am going to make a lot of noise, so they will have to let me downstairs." Mitten and Muppet looked at him. "Mother will be cross with you," they said. "I don't care about that," said naughty Tom Kitten, and he proceeded to run backwards and forwards across the room, stomping his feet. Then he called out in a loud voice and climbed up the curtains and scratched his claws on the furniture. The guests below heard the noise. "I think the kittens are feeling better," they said, smiling. Mrs. Tabitha Twitchit didn't feel like smiling, though. When the guests had gone, she went up to speak to Tom Kitten. "Tonight you will go to bed without any supper," she told him, sounding disappointed. After that, Tom Kitten behaved himself for a while. A very short while. As for the puddle ducks, they went into a pond. The clothes all came off directly because there were no buttons. And Mr. Drake Puddle Duck and Jemima and Rebecca have been looking for them ever since. Hi, if you like this video, please give this a like and hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon to get notified whenever I release a new video.